And so what's next for you? I mean, you do a lot of session work as well. How long have you been a session guitarist, and who have you been working with?
Well, it's something I've just started to put myself forward for, really. During lockdown, I set up a website and I thought, what can I do, So I thought, I set the website up. I thought I'll advertise myself as available for remote sessions because I can record from here dead easy.
Yeah.
So it's just something I'm getting into, really.
Yeah.
I do have a couple of things lined up. There's a local, a really great Yorkshire prog rock band called This Winter Machine. And a couple of friends of mine are in the band. I'm going to be playing a solo on their album that they're currently writing and recording.
Well,
whenever that's ready.
We'll give them a plug. We'll put the links in there,
Yeah,
and,
nice.
And put them in there so people can check that out. Right, and so what have you got sort of plans long term for yourself as a session artist and with Wishbone Ash? What's once lockdown over, what's your plan?
Long term, I mean, I'm so into the Wishbone thing. I haven't really given after Wishbone any thought. I'm so focused on being in Wishbone, continuing to be in Wishbone, and as long as Andy's keeping the band going and he's happy with our guitar partnership, that's where I am. That's what I can't imagine wanting to change that for as long as.
Yeah, that's something to be content with. It just
either afterwards, maybe I'll do. Obviously I'm going to do something, I don't know what, but if I don't, it would be a hell of a come down, wouldn't it?
Yeah, where do you go from that?
Yeah.
What offers do you get? But you never know what's around the corner, do you?
No.
And stuff. So
but yeah, like I said, at the moment, I'm just not even thinking about anything other than what I'm doing.
Yeah, superb. And what are you working on at home? I can see all your gear there, your recording kit and stuff like that. What do you work on when you're at home in the studio?
Whenever I get an idea, if I don't record it straight away, I'm going to forget it. That's partly what I did when we got to France for the writing sessions of Coat of Arms. I just had my iPhone with just loads of jams on there. I've been like the riff that turned out to be We Stand As One on the album, the first track. It was a thing, like a finger exercise that I would play after I'd had a few drinks, and I'd play it quite fast and a lot higher up the neck, and then I'd forget it. So it was after maybe three occasions of me coming back to this same thing. I thought, do you know what? I best make a note of this. So I just recorded it acoustically on my iPhone, and I just pulled it out in the right. I said, "Oh, I've got this," and we made that into what turned out to be the first song on the album.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to put those moments down and get them recorded. I've just been recording a bit this morning, and you get ideas, and you just got to get them down. I'll sift through the different things, all the different saves later on, and chuck the ones out I don't want. So
So that right at the beginning of lockdown, I just got back from a tour. We got back from the American tour maybe this time last year, a little bit later than this, and then 2 days later I bought a Taylor acoustic guitar. I've never had a nice acoustic guitar at home ever, and it's kind of saved my life. During lockdown, it's just pick it up and you don't have to set anything up. Pick it up, play it, and I've never kind of come up with so many ideas. Yeah. The acoustic is just great for writing and coming up with riffs and melodies, and I just instantly record it. I've got a mic set up in here. I can plug the acoustic through the Kemper and model an AER acoustic combo and record really good acoustic tracks. It sounds, but it's just more to make a note of what I've got, where I'm at. So
most of the artists that we're interviewing and talking to are saying just that they'll start with if the song doesn't sound good on acoustic, they'll drop it. If the song is sounding or the riffs are sounding good on acoustic, they'll then take it further and progress it onto electric guitar.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that's a great song. You know, a great song is a song you can just pick up an acoustic guitar and strum it and play
Yeah.
the. You know, I listen to a lot of traveling Wilburys, and that's just full of it. You know.
Yeah. And what's it like going on tour with Wishbone Ash? What I mean, whereabouts have you played so far?
Well, I mean, 2019, I think we did 19, 20 countries, including Japan, South Africa, a couple of American tours. So that's a lot of states. We do the UK every year, Europe, Germany, Scandinavia, Poland.
That's a heavy schedule. That's a
it
heavy.
Is, you know, you've really got to want to do it. You've really got to want to be there, which I love it. You know, it's I was saying to someone the other day, touring, it's like 70% traveling, 10% playing guitar, and 20% hanging around in bars and eating nice food. It's just, it suits me, you know, especially on tour in America. You know, the drives there, we might spend all day traveling. You know, even if we get a day off, it could be a travel day.
Yeah. And how is Wishbone Ash received in other countries?
Well, Wishbone is one of those bands, you know, 50 years been around. I don't think there's many countries where Wishbone couldn't play and not be known by someone, you know, which for me is amazing. You know, we get to travel. I've seen places that I've never would have been to. And you're just so lucky, really. Yeah, but wherever we go, the reception is amazing, I've got to say.
That's fantastic. That's
fantastic. Like we played in Japan. I think we did 4 shows in Japan, and we made a little holiday out of it as well. So I had a few days there to look round afterwards. It's cool when you can do that, you know. But yeah, we got to the hotel, which was near the venue, and it was surrounded by Wishbone fans with old vinyls wanting signatures on, you know. It's just amazing, you know. You could leave the hotel. For as long as we were staying at the hotel, there were people in the hotel lobby waiting for us to go in and out. It was just crazy.
And is there do you see on tours and things like that, and in the audience, do you see a new contingency of Wishbone fans coming through?
There's a lot of young fans, especially down the front, and you know, I always smile because that was me. I was, you know, I saw a video on YouTube from, I think it was the 25th anniversary tour, so 25 years, I think 95, and I'm there on the front row with hair down here, and you know, I couldn't have been any closer to being on stage if I'd tried.
Really?
Even in 95.
Well, that's great to hear. You know, that music's going to be carrying on, and music does pass through from generations, doesn't it? So
it does, you know, the same as it worked for me. You know, it's parents taking the kids along, or introducing them to the music, and you know, it's nice that, I mean, I don't find for myself a lot of new music where I think, when I listen to it and think, yeah, I want to play like him. I just don't really hear much of that. So that's why I think a lot of the kids look back, you know, 70s rock music in particular. There's a lot of guitar there for the kids to look at and study.
Yeah, well, I playing in a sort of a 90s Britpop and indie tribute, and it's actually that generation of, or that decade of music, sort of the 90s, is really popular with the 20-year-olds, 20s and 30-year-olds at the minute. Really popular. Yeah. Because obviously people my age have now got kids and they've passed it on. Yeah. So there's a huge contingency of youngsters who are loving Oasis. I remember doing a gig once locally, and I was packing my gear away. And these 2 guys were like, oh yeah, I remember watching Oasis at Nebworth and on YouTube. I said to them, I was there. And they're like, no way. I was like, I was there.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I was never into Oasis at the time. A few nights ago, I watched a thing on MTV with Noel Gallagher going back to the studio where they recorded, and listening to the songs. Just like we said, they're great songs because you can just pick them up on an acoustic guitar and sit and play them, you know. And that's what you need. That's what I think you need.
Yeah, very very simple rock and roll. You you know, nothing complex about it, but to create that Oasis sound, that's where the simplicity goes, and it is so powerful.
Yeah.
And if you're into it, that scene at that time, those songs are really anthemic, and you know, and as you said, it mentioned earlier on, those memories. It's all about those memories, isn't it?
It puts you back where you were.
Absolutely.
I guess. Yeah.
Well, Noel Gallagher was the first one that introduced me to Orange Amps, because I was listening to Knopfler and Clapton, who were playing Soldanos and Marshalls at the time and stuff like that. And Led Zeppelin and other bands had kind of, you know, I'd not been taking much notice of those. And then all of a sudden I'd seen Noel Gallagher standing in front of, I think it was an OR 140 or 120 or something. Yeah. And I was like, what on earth is that? And that was it. I was sold. Yeah. I had to find out about Orange Amps, you know, the heritage and everything else. It's
a lot of the indie bands in the 90s used Orange Amps, I think. I remember seeing, in fact, not only seen, I nearly owned it. Shed 7 had an orange stack, and it ended up in our shop. That and a Les Paul. I bought the Les Paul, actually. I've still got it. But I nearly had the orange amp to go with it. That must have been like 99, 2000, somewhere around then.
Yeah. And finally, what sort of is there any sort of like music that you're listening to today that's is catching your eye, sort of like something you mentioned, Doyle Bramall, you know, anybody like sort of John Mayer and stuff like that, so, you know, newer generation guitarists?
I haven't heard much John Mayer, to be honest. I need to check him out.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you a link when this is finished.
Please do.
He's awesome.
I've heard some of his bluesier things that I have enjoyed.
Yeah.
And I've also heard some of the poppier side, you know, it's poppy, which is not really for me as much, but certainly the bluesy stuff I'd be really interested to hear.
Yeah.
But yeah, Doyle Bramall, I walk a lot. That's what I've been doing during lockdown. I'm walking around like a madman with headphones in. So I'm listening to Doyle Bramall, the Fitchburg Street album, I think they call it.
Yeah.
I listen to a lot. Walter Trout's new album is amazing. Ordinary Madness. I listen to that a lot. And also a band called Legacy, which I don't know if you've heard of Legacy.
No.
It features ex-members of Dire Straits. So
the Dire Straits Legacy. Yes, I have seen it. John Ellis in it, isn't he?
Alan Clark.
Yeah.
Phil Palmer on guitar.
Yeah.
Who, interestingly, played with Wishbone Ash in the 80s as well.
Oh, what Alan Clark did?
No, Phil Palmer.
No, Phil Palmer did. Yeah.
Yeah, for a short while.
Yeah.
And they released an album called 3 Chord Trick, and it's just amazing. I love it. And I listen to that most days I go for a walk. That's probably the first album I put on. And of course, I've been listening to the new Wishbone Ash album, Coat of Arms.
Yeah, amazing. Of course, yeah. We'll have to give that one a plug for sure. Put the link in.
Yeah,
the link's there. It's going to be there.
I'll send you an affiliate link.
Yes, please do. And it's a shame that Mark doesn't want to join in on the Legacy thing. I know he doesn't like the fame and things like that. But they've got an Italian guy doing the vocals and guitar, haven't they?
Yeah, and I wasn't sure at first. I mean, I don't know if I'd go watch them playing a set of Dire Straits music. Well, maybe just to see Phil Palmer and Alan Clark play, but I don't think I'd be so much into. I did see the Straits when they did a tour, so I met Alan Clark on that show, and I really enjoyed it actually. And that's the guy who was playing guitar, like fronting it. That's the guy I've just given the Kemper profile to for Money for Nothing. So he's going to be playing with that live. So that's really cool for me.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I think when you're a real hardened Dire Straits fan, I mean, it's all Mark Knopfler, isn't it? You know, Dire Straits.
Yeah.
You know, his sound, his guitar, his vocals. And then, you've got Alan Clark that was, you know, contributing to the songs massively, and John Ilsley and everyone else. Yes. But it really was Mark, wasn't it? And without him there, it's a bit like playing football without a ball, isn't it?
It is. Exactly. Yeah.
You know, and I don't know whether I'd go and see him, to be honest, you know. But then again, Mark doesn't want the fame, does he? He doesn't want to get up there and all the fame
But he still goes out and plays arenas. So I don't know. But I did see Mark Knopfler in the last tour he did, 19, was it? And he sounded amazing, I got to say. It was really on it. The best I've seen him for years and years. Yeah. And it was playing Kemper as well, actually.
Yes, I heard he'd moved to Kemper.
He had a great sound.
Yeah, I'd heard he moves, because I'm pretty much an analog guy with sort of valves and stuff like that. And here's my hero playing a Kemper, and I'm like, okay, maybe I need to move with the times. You know. Look, Mark, thank you so much for joining us and giving us your time. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you and getting to know you about your time with Wishbone Ash and your musical journey and everything else. It's been an absolute pleasure. So thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure, really.
Lovely. Thanks very much.
Anytime.